I was hoping to ask some questions on Part B, evidence-based math instruction.
Mr. President, Part B is also Senator Mayer.
Senator Mayer, would you yield for a question?
Yes, I do.
Sponsor yields.
Thank you, Senator. Can you define evidence-based math instruction? What is it?
Through you, Mr. President, what is in this bill is a requirement that the State Education Department provide school districts with evidence-based instructional best practices for numeracy and the teaching of math for students in grades kindergarten through 5 by January 1, 2027. The bill defers to the State Education Department, which is the expert on issues of model curriculum and best practices, to come up with these materials.
Through you, Mr. President, will the Senator continue to yield?
Sponsor yield.
Yes.
Sponsor yield.
Thank you. So is this whole new curriculum that the teachers must relearn and apply into teaching their students?
Through you, Mr. President, as I believe my colleague knows, curriculum is driven at the local level. The State Education Department provides guidelines and guidance for schools. This bill provides that by September 1, 2027, districts must verify that their curriculum and instructional practices for teaching math from kindergarten through 5 align with the best practices provided by the SED. So it's not a curriculum mandate. There's going to be best practices drafted by the State Education Department, and schools are going to have to attest that they align with those best practices.
Through you, Mr. President, will the Senator continue to yield?
Sponsor yield.
Yes.
Sponsor yield.
Okay, so between the years 2014 and 2024, I was a schools volunteer for that period of 10 years in 2 schools. One is a local zone school, and the other one is a screened-in middle school. In fact, the elapsed time that I work in these 2 schools is 13 years. In that time, I saw the schools, both schools, transition from Go Math to Eureka Math to iReady, which, by the way, iReady and Illustrator Math, these latter 2 identifies a student's weakness and vulnerabilities and provides a personalized online lesson plan to help them stay on track and improve. And it works. I've seen it. So are we doing away with these 2 particular programs, let's say Illustrator Math and iReady?
Through you, Mr. President, we're not doing away. We are deferring to the State Education Department to come up with a best practices model. And if the 2 models that my colleague referenced are deemed to be best practices, I would assume they'll be considered and included in the final provisions by SED.
Through you, Mr. President, will the Senator continue to yield?
Sponsor yield.
Yes.
Sponsor yield.
So what is the reason for this new math instruction this year?
Through you, Mr. President, well, this was, I believe, originally proposed by the governor in her executive budget. I think it reflects a broad consensus that we need our students to be stronger in math, particularly in the younger grades, so that they can move into more advanced math. And it is one of the approaches states are taking to ensure that students in the early grades have the basics that they need in order to proceed to more advanced math.
Through you, Mr. President, will the Senator continue to yield?
Sponsor yield.
Yes.
Sponsor yield.
So the governor's idea that we need this, was there any parent or teacher input? Because I know the teachers are going to have to retrain. And every time they found something that works and they're getting used to it, they're learning how to apply a certain method of teaching, and they're getting good at it, they had to retrain into something else. Was there parent and teacher input in this decision?
Through you, Mr. President, I don't know which teachers were spoken to by the governor's office. I would just say that SED and the rest of us talk to teachers and teacher representatives all the time, and I am confident that teachers will have a voice. I would point out to my colleague, the fact that you have to change how you teach, like we did with the science of reading, this is not always a bad thing. It's frequently a way to improve the outcomes. We're supportive of change. If things work the way they were done, we wouldn't have to look at all new approaches or continue to modify. That's the nature of improvement.
Through you, Mr. President, will the senator continue to yield?
Sponsor yield.
Yes.
Sponsor yields.
So who's going to participate in developing the state's, quote, best practices recommendations?
Mr. President, the bill does not specify who the State Education Department will work with in developing these best practices.
Through you, Mr. President, will the senator continue to yield?
Sponsor yield.
Yes.
Sponsor yields.
So will the state provide funding for curriculum replacement, teacher retraining, and instructional materials?
Through you, Mr. President, this bill does not provide that. I assume in the next year's budget, as we continue to increase education funding for every school district in the state to get more foundation aid, we will continue to address the needs of every school district.
Through you, Mr. President, will the senator continue to yield?
Sponsor yield.
Yes.
Sponsor yields.
Thank you. How will the Education Commissioner determine if the new math instructions is in fact effective? Is it through test scores or math comprehension?
Mr. President, my colleague is asking about the bill. The bill directs the Commissioner and the State Department to provide evidence-based instructional best practices without a great deal of description. I am confident, having worked with them on the science of reading and other issues, that they are going to have to, as the experts in education, and that's what they are under the Board of Regents, they will determine what are the best practices and what is the evidence-based instruction that they recommend for all schools.
Through you, Mr. President, will the senator continue to yield?
Sponsor yield.
Yes.
Sponsor yields.
Thank you. When should we or can we expect to see a rise in test score after the implementation of the new math programming?
Through you, Mr. President, I don't think that's a question in all good faith, and I can answer when test scores would rise. I would hope it would be this year. I would hope it would be next year. I'm sure my colleague agrees. This is part of the goal of improving test scores, not only test scores, but actual math knowledge and ability to do complex math.
Thank you, Mr. President. On the bill.
Senator Chan on the bill.
Okay, so in the past, between the years 2014, when my older daughter started the first grade, and 2024, when I couldn't volunteer in the schools anymore, finding little time to do so, I saw our teachers in 2 schools struggle with new curriculum. They work a lot on their own time, and just when they were refining their method of teaching in a certain way, and we saw scores improve, and then with the new program, we saw it decline, and then a couple of years later, when they're getting used to it, we saw the scores improve again, and lately, right now, New York State spends over $41,000 per student per year, and that's the highest in the nation. And yet, our math scores are once again on the decline. So what it sounds to me is that this evidence-based math instruction is going back to the basics of counting fingers, like 1 + 1 = 2, which is something that the teachers do anyway. So I certainly hope this is going to bring up our math scores in the state tests and make our children have a better comprehension of math. That will give it a better reflection of the money that we're spending on our students. Thank you very much.